Greetings and welcome to video number 8 of the Greater Reality Healing Program. I'm Dr. Mark Pitstick. To learn more about me, my training experience, and outreaches so you know you're in good hands, please visit soulproof.com/about. Also, please watch previous videos if you haven't already. Don't start with this one. And finally, the articles mentioned throughout are free at soulproof.com/articles. So we're addressing key number 7 in this, keys to journeying from deeply grieving to brightly shining, and that is to know your true nature and live accordingly. Who am I is one of the most important questions you can ask during this earthly experience. And to some people that question may sound silly. What do you mean, who am I? I'm Mark. Now really you're a lot more than that. From a scientific perspective, you're a timeless being of energy and consciousness who is, in part, manifesting now as a human being having this earthly experience. From a more religious or spiritual view, you're a beloved child of God, of the divine, now and always. Many people suffer needlessly because of the illusion that they can die and that they're separate from others and Creator. The belief that we are alone, we're alienated, causes so much needless pain, and that's just not true, especially when you understand who you are, your true nature. So the more enlightened you become, the more you can deeply know and show the light within, that is your real self, or you could say your consciousness, your higher energy. And that is also true for your loved ones who have changed worlds, people and pets. Jesus, who drew upon Jewish and other wisdom sources that contribute to the Christian message, allegedly spoke of being one with the Father. The Buddha purportedly said that we each are like drops of water in the oceanic divine. Sufism wisdom states that God is as near to you as your own hands and feet. Hindu mystics reportedly said that the individual soul is nothing else in essence but the universal soul. Now I say allegedly, purportedly, reportedly because there's no factual record of what was said thousands of years ago from the teachers of these different religions. The overall messages were shaped over time, but we can't know for certain what one individual said. So many people reject some of these messages, and I can understand that. They call BS on it. But it's important to look at the big picture of the teachings, the common themes. After 1.5 years of biblical history courses in theology school, the head professor said, "In conclusion, it's clear there is very little, if any, factual evidence for details in the Bible. Ultimately," he continued, "the Christian message must be taken on faith." When I heard that, I thought, well, I wish you would have told me that the first day. I could have saved a lot of tuition money. But that's why I encourage people. So these changes I've mentioned, changes, deletions, additions, translations, interpretations, etc., is why it's important to consider wisdom sources in 3 ways. First of all, indications from the contemporary evidence is what is being taught in these holy books. Does that jive with, for example, what millions and millions of people are saying after near-death experiences? And that's just one example. Also look at the religious spiritual teachings that you resonate with. We said earlier that there are over 40,000 denominations in Christianity and over 10,000 religions in the world, so they can't all be totally right. So look at the ones you resonate the most with. And then finally, what's your inner knowing tells you when you're walking with your higher power, a great spirit each day. Prominent scientists have provided instructive views about your true nature. Quantum physicist David Bohm, PhD, who was a colleague of Albert Einstein's at Princeton, said that humans are like ripples of excitation in an endless sea of energy. Wow. He said that depending on the observer's perspective, sensory abilities, and level of consciousness, those ripples may appear as light, information, love, or a formed human. And Einstein said, a human being is a part of the whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He continued, he experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. So I hope you take the time to learn and demonstrate who you really are, looking at it from these different ways, religiously, spiritually, as well as more scientifically, using physics. Because who you are, knowing who you are, is such a huge key to handling life's biggest changes with style and experiencing the greatest life you've envisioned. When you know who you really are, an eternal being of consciousness, spirit, energy, awareness, then you are better able to handle all changes in life. The bodily death of loved ones, aging, disabilities, financial losses, relationship breakups, etc. It's part of life. And when you know who you really are, you're better able to float with that, to roll with the punches, so to speak, to roll with the changes. So the following articles can help you, but personally, the information that I'm teaching, but personally experiencing your true nature is much more impactful for words. These words sometimes for lofty subjects can fall short because nature, the nature of the divine, for example, is considered to be ineffable. In other words, whatever you say about it isn't complete. So that's why centering practices like daily prayer, meditation, walking in nature, and others, as described in article number 89, 51, and 77, can expand your knowing about who you really are. You get in touch with that be still and know I am God. Now let's consider the second part of the title for key number 7, know your true nature and live accordingly. So everyone is unique, so what living accordingly looks like, what that means, will vary widely. So to be clear, I'm not saying there's a set way for people to live after awakening to their true nature. In general, however, many people increasingly seek evidence-based answers to life's biggest questions. That is, they reject authority, as the saying from the 70s went, and they want to know for themselves, and they want to see the evidence, not just what's been passed down from one generation to the other. They question teachings by traditional churches about life, afterlife, and Creator, and that's healthy. And by the way, good ministers in a church will welcome that and engage in dialogue. They know that's healthy. Those that say, you're going to go to hell for questioning these, that's when you want to run out the door. People who are more awakened, once they know who they are and want to live accordingly, another thing is they try to identify and share their greatest gifts, also known as their soul's missions. They spend more time with beloved family, friends, and pets. They don't major in minors. That is, they spend less time watching TV, playing video games, and other really mindless pursuits, or keeping up with the latest, who got divorced or who got married in Hollywood. Really, how important is that? I'll guarantee you when you pass on and you have your life review, it's like, oh, I shouldn't have spent so much time, reading following these shows, but rather doing what I came here to do, focusing on the important things, and that's what we're talking about here. Helping others in ways they feel called. Taking better care of the temple of their soul. I mean, we only have one vehicle that gets us from womb to tomb. So it's so smart. I mean, if our car breaks down, we can replace parts or replace the car, but you can't on this one. So that's why people who know who they really are take care of it. It's a sacred vehicle. They attend churches and spiritual groups that are more loving and open-minded. They regularly use centering practices, we just mentioned some, to discern their inner wisdom about how to best live. They develop a personal relationship with the light and highly evolved beings, angels, guides, master teachers, who teach and demonstrate more enlightened views. So they may not be religious at all, but they're more spiritual. They may not at all attend church, but having that personal relationship is very important to them. So you get the idea. Those are just some examples of how people live accordingly once they know all the information in this class, and especially who they really are, their true nature. So people who realize, even though their essence is immortal, that this earthly experience is a brief and sacred opportunity, can then handle things better. And then they make wiser choices about how to spend their time. So that's what living accordingly means. Some suggested action steps for this key: regularly use the big three listed above: prayer, meditation, centering practices like time and nature, to more deeply remember your true nature. Implement conscious language that reinforces the fact that you, your real self, is much more than your earthly form. For example, somebody asks you, it's your birthday, how old are you? Well, this body is 71 years old, but my real self is eternal. That may sound kind of corny, but gosh, that's what we need to do to really help internalize that information and help others realize it. And use the three sources of information approach that I shared to discern what you think is really true. What does contemporary evidence point to? What do religious and spiritual teachings that you resonate with teach? And most of all, what do you discern within? What do you feel is really real? And especially when you are on the path, when you're walking each day in the woods with great spirit. To learn more about your true nature, read articles number 15, The Nature of Humans, 23, Are You More Evolved and Sensitive, and 118, Who and What Are You Really? All right, thank you for watching these, and stay tuned for the next video, video number 9. Until then, let it shine.